It was so bad to the point where I had to threaten my own parents to be like, you know what? If you don't stop hitting me, I'm gonna call child services. So growing up Asian, chances are you're terrified of your parents. Not only in the fact that you're trying to live up to their standards, but you are terrified of the fact that you're gonna be punished, disciplined in some sort of physical manner. Whether that came to things like me kneeling in the corner of a dark, hard-wooded floor, crying my eyes out and wondering what I did was wrong, or being terrified of the fact that I was gonna be punished and hit with a colorful feather duster, or being hit with chopsticks, spoons, or any kind of belt so I'd be whipped. And not only that, but with being Bart Simpson and using, their hands, being dragged on the floor. And I like to joke about it here and there, but it comes to a serious point in my life where I held a lot of resentment because of the way that Asian parents discipline their kids. Like, I have another video making, a little fun joke about, the types of Asian parenting and like how they choose their discipline. Like, I remember all kinds of methods that they used, including, me kneeling down in the corner of a dark room when I was only 8 or 9 years old, crying and wondering, what I did was wrong.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It was so bad to the point where I had to threaten my own parents to be like, you know what? If you don't stop hitting me, I'm gonna call child services. And they would always call my bluff on it. They would be like, oh yeah? Go ahead, call them. Me and you, chances are if you're Asian, we can relate because we share that same pain of physical pain, of being tortured, being, abused physically, emotionally. And I held a lot of resentment towards my parents for the longest time because of the things that they've done. And you probably think I'm an anomaly, but this is one of the things that not a lot of Asian kids talk about, is how Asian parents discipline their kids in not the best way that they should be. Instead of hitting and beating your kids, and I remember things of like screaming bloody murder, instead they should be things like instilling confidence, instilling right moral boundaries. And I'm not the only one to go through these horrible traumatic experiences. I have had, other Asian, especially Asian guys, share similar horror, frightening stories of, whether it's their Asian dad or Asian mom, doing something horrible to them. And the thing is, yes, I wasn't like the best kid growing up, but at the same time, I'm only 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. And when you're that young, you don't really have the best comprehension skills. All you know is that if you do this, this is gonna happen. And I just remember being terrified every day of my parents and trying to live up to their standards, but deep down inside I was scared because the people who are supposed to love you hurt you. And for the longest time I couldn't comprehend why. Things like this that happens when you're a kid, it affects you growing up. And one of the reasons why I think I can be a little emotional sometimes, maybe sometimes I'm a little hot-headed sometimes, is because of these childhood experiences. Like, I'm not trying to hold grudges and resentment towards, my parents, but it does have a role in who I am. But the older I get, I'm trying to unlearn the things and and break my own habits of how, certain things that I remember as a kid that I don't think any kid should go through. But the more I look back, the more I'm grateful I am, because they're only teaching what they know, right? Because in the end, everyone has or living in their best level of the highest level of consciousness that they are. And I can't hate them for only trying to teach things that they know that they thought that were good. But whenever I have kids one day, or I'm trying to raise someone and be a mentor to like whoever, I'm definitely gonna break that habit of punishment, right? There's a difference between beating someone and telling them that they're wrong, but in a more understandable way, such as explaining to someone what they did was wrong, And yes, some people might respond to these types of punishments, completely fine. But you have on the other spectrum where it might emotionally scar someone for the rest of their lives. Truth is, Asian parents don't have the best methods of trying to discipline and raise their kids. But at the same time, if you grew up like me, they're trying to live, the hustle life, trying to work that long job so they can support you. And the last thing on their mind is trying to properly raise a child, because raising a child is hard enough, and no parent can love and nurture enough. And you either take those traumatic experiences and learn and break certain habits for your own child and children in the future, or you continue to live the same life that they put on to you. And that's my 2 cents on the types of Asian punishment and discipline. I'll see y'all in the next one. Deuces.